All right, what's up guys? I'm going to be just going over the quick setup of Metrix, and I'm going to be using the logistics version here. So when you log into the members area, you see two versions. The one I'm going to be going over is this first version. The other version's a lot similar, and it's actually simplified. It doesn't have the logistics tool in it, but in the guide, it's going to be basically through about halfway down, so we're going to be covering these steps right here. For these other steps, you can reference the guide here. There's additional training and videos and stuff as you get into the section. So the guide's right here if you need to download that. So anyway, this video is just going to cover kind of the initial setup and kind of the most common operation of Metrix. So let me move this out of the way. All right, so I'll probably just actually close this, but you can see there's actually two ways to set up this Metrix in logistics version. One if you want to operate it for multiple brands at the same time, and one if you want to do just one brand. The most common is just one brand, so that's what I'm going to be covering here, but the guide will show you how to do it if you want to do it with the multiple brand. It's basically just this setting here. You change it, and then it's a different file naming nomenclature when you save the reports. But again, I'm going to be doing it for the single brand, which is the most common, usually like 99% of the time. So anyway, we're going to be going over how to download your ad reports and business reports and let's see, the fees report. That's going to be the other one. So it's really just three files, three file types, and then we're going to get those into the tool is kind of an onboarding process here. So, all right, let's get started. The settings tab, you'll want to have already authorized the tool, so that's covered here in the top portion of the guide. You can see it's just the first section. Pretty straightforward. You'll just do that, and then you'll get the menu to pop up. One point is anytime you hop into Metrix for like the next day or the next time you're viewing it, this menu will not be here. You'll have to just click the authorization button. And you'll have already put in your members area email and password here, so that'll just kind of be stored. So you don't have to enter any of this anymore. You just have to remember you got to click this button to get it to show the menu after you've authorized it the first time. So I've already got the menu authorized, and I've checked my market, and I've logged into my Amazon Seller Central. So I've got just a test account here I'm gonna kind of do this demo with, and I'm gonna just click that. Now, when it comes to this screen here, if you do get a little add-on or pop-up blocker thing that shows up here, you do have to allow pop-ups. The two Amazon pages that show up though are going to be your fees report and then your ads report section here. So for fees report, literally just click on this, and you got to wait for the CSV to download. For this one, if you don't have any existing reports, you'll just need to click create report, and you're going to need to set this up for sponsored products, brands, and display if you do want to import all of that ad data. If you're just running sponsored products, you can literally just do it for sponsored products. So anyway, sponsored products will be the advertised product report, and you're going to pick daily. And for the first time you're importing data, typically like the last 30 days is a good date range to choose. So, going forward, if you're updating this more frequent, maybe you're updating it once a week, you could do like a 7-day report period. It's going to have all the data in there from the previous run. So if you want to do a little bit of an overlap to catch and overlap a few days from the last time you did it, that's smart, because it'll only keep the data that's most recent if you import data on the same day. So keep that in mind. But anyway, it's pretty intuitive, pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to make sure it's the daily data, pick your date range, make sure it's sponsored products, advertised product, run the report. All right, and then you're going to do that for the brands and display as well. Now the brands and display are different reports though, so let me just show you. If you go back up here at the top and just click on reports, you click on create report. So for brands, it's going to be the campaign report, which is right here. Again, daily, pick the same date range, run that, and then you'll have the sponsored display as well. So sponsored display, campaign, daily, 30-day, run report. Now, once they're in your report hub here, all you need to do when you want to get an updated data set is come over to action and hit run report, and it'll run it for that same period. So if you set it to 30 days, it's going to do it for 30 days. So you may want to set one up for, like I said, 7 days or something like that, so you can kind of update it on a frequency. But you can see my advertised products one is done, so you just literally click on that. And what you'll want to do is, if you don't have Drive for desktop installed, you can Google search that, or it's also in the Metrix training guide on where to download it. But it allows you, if you have, I think it works for Mac too, but I'm on Windows here. You can see it just has my Google Drives off here to the left, and I can very easily go to my Google Drive folder. And when you authorize Metrix, you're going to get a folder structure with FBAExcel tools and then FBAExcel export files. You just care about the FBAExcel tools folder here, and then the Metrix folder, and then you'll see a folder structure that get automatically created. We're going to save our add files in this ads tab here under the adds new folder. And this adds imported folder, what that is as the data gets imported into Metrix, it moves the reports where the data has been imported into the imported folder to keep this kind of adds new folder empty. So now there is a naming nomenclature that you do have to be aware of. So for this single brand mode, you just literally call it SP like that, because it's the sponsored products one, and you hit save. Now I don't know, it's not going to let me do sponsored brands or display because this is just a dummy account and I'm probably not running those ads right now. Let me see. Yeah, there's no, oh, okay, there is. So I will, for the fun of it, you would download this and call that SB as in boy, hit save, and SD. All right, pretty easy. All right, so once you have that, you can literally just get out of here. And now you come back, I'm gonna grab my fees report. So we're gonna call this fees, and it goes in the Metrix fees folder. And similar type of concept here, the new is where you always put the new files. So that's just called fees, F-E-E-S, and hit save. And you can get out of that now. So we basically done the first step here in kind of the onboarding. The business reports, this is what takes a little longer for the very first time you're using it, and then after, like on an ongoing basis, it's really quick, because you can do, like, if you just want to do 3 days worth or 7 days, again, you can overlap if you've got some existing data in there. It's only going to keep the newest. But for this first trial run, I'm going to just grab the 14 days worth. I would recommend, if you're starting and you're doing like a 30-day import of ads data, you also grab an additional 14 days, so you get almost 30 days worth. But for this, I'm going to just do, actually I'm probably just going to do 7 days. It's all the same. So click on 7. You do have to make sure you're already logged in to Seller Central again, or else it'll ask you to log in first. But I should be logged in. You're going to see it's just going to pre-populate the business reports here with the dates. So we should, all right, I closed out of those tabs and went back and ran it for 14 days. I'm going to make it for 30 days in this example, or else the Metrix dashboard won't make as much sense. So anyway, you can see what it does. It opens up multiple tabs, one for each day. The date's already populated in there. So literally all you have to do is kind of stare at that date and remember what it is. So it's 12/21/23. I'm going to hit download, and what you're going to do is click on Metrix, and then these go in the SKU folder, so SKU new. And for this, it's 12.21.23. So that's the nomenclature that you need to kind of learn there for the business report files. And you're literally just going to go through and save them. So as you save them, just cancel out of them, and you'll do this one's 22. One little hack, you can click on the file here and then just change the number like that, save. All right, close out. I'm gonna just save these real quick and I'll be right back. All right, so I went ahead and saved all the files. The one thing I forgot to mention on this show hide columns on the right, and you'll see this in the guide, you want to kind of make sure you at least at a minimum have what I have here checked. So you can kind of pause your screen. These are kind of the main summation metrics that you're going to want to kind of keep an eye on. You can bring others in, I believe, but yeah, these are the main ones. So anyway, once you have them all saved, I'll just show you here. If I go to my drive and FBAExcel tools, metrics, and these are all going in the SKU folder. So you can see I have all of these named accordingly, and you got to make sure you've got the date. A lot of users will do like 2023. It's important you kind of keep the nomenclature short and basically 2 digits. I don't think, yeah, it can be like 1/1/24 like this, but if you did 1/1/2024, I'm pretty sure that would not work. So not 100% sure, but this is the right way to do it. All right. So once we've got that, we're pretty well good to go. The only other thing is obviously after this first time, you don't need to get 30 days worth. This is just to kind of pre-populate the tool with the past 30 days worth of ad data and performance data and stuff like that. So the optional step here is if you did have the Helium 10 rank tracker set up, you saw it the screen pop up there when I first clicked on this. That's so if you do want to download the rank data, you can reference the guide for that. It's kind of an optional thing. I'll show you after we build out the dashboard where that data populates, but just know that you can do that, and you can pull in new rank data however frequent you want, maybe once or twice a week, and then see how your changes over time are proceeding. You can do up to 25 keywords per product with the rank tracking. All right. So now all we have to do is kind of import the data and set up the dashboard. So it's pretty simple, and this is the exact same process that you would use kind of an ongoing maintenance as well. You're just going to do the exact same steps we just did, except you'll pick a tighter date range, like 3 to 7 days, whatever. It just depends on how frequently you want to update the tool. Most users are 2 to 3 times a week, let's say. All right, so now that we have all the files in the right place, just know that they're going to get moved from that new folder structure to the imported folder structure, and that again will just keep the new folder blank so we can be ready for the next day we're gonna update it. So all you do is just run down through these one at a time. So your ads, you're just going to click on this. All right, you can see it gives you a reminder here of kind of what we talked about and what the nomenclature as far as the name should be. So I'm just going to hit yes. All right, you won't really see anything other than this prompt once it's done, so just hit OK, and then you're good to move on to the next one. So you can see it did hop over to the dashboard, but we haven't set it up for the first time yet. So we need to import our fees next, so just click on fees. And the fees report is one you actually don't need to get every time. So you can see there we named it fees. Are you ready to continue? Yes. You actually don't need to get fees every time. So on an ongoing maintenance, you can skip this one. The only time you would want to maybe grab them is if you updated your pricing and it would have changed your fees, or maybe you added a product. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, so now that we've done that, you just need to update your SKU files. This is the one that'll take the longest on the import just because we did 30 of them. All right, like the others, it'll give you an example to make sure you've named it correctly based on kind of how you have the tool set up. So that's how we named it. So I'm gonna hit yes. One thing I forgot is this setting here. This is going to be kind of the initial date of the first, you could say the first SKU report you downloaded from the business reports, which I think was 12.7. So it's got a formula in there by default. You can just override it. So I'm going to call 12.7.23. All right. And then what that'll do is when we hop over to our dashboard, it will adjust the dates, so your ranges. Now you can see I have some extra days worth of data I think I imported as well, so I'll show you how to kind of add on here at the end. But this is kind of where you should see at this point. We still haven't added any products, so that's kind of the last step on the setup. So all you do there is you'll click on Sync Products Dashboard, and this is something you would want to do if you did launch a new product or updated your fees. All right, so after you sync your products dashboard for the first time, you should see kind of all your existing products from your fees report will populate, and then you should see an image there. You can go ahead and put in your landed costs if you know them. So that's just your total of your production plus shipping, and then that'll just give you a decent profit and ROI calculation. You can obviously keep track of any notes. There's the logistics tool is hidden kind of behind the scenes here. It's a separate kind of optional tool. Again, reference the guide. There's some screenshots. It's the exact same process as you just download a restock report, save it to the restock folder, and then you import it. So it's done in this menu here, but it's pretty straightforward. So I'm not going to cover that in this video. The last step we need to cover before this video ends is actually adding the products to our dashboard. So now that we've got all the data in here, we just need to pick the products that we want to add. So you can see it just gives us a drop down here with our available products. So I'm going to put this one there and this one here. And you can see everything kind of populates automatically. There's no data here because I wasn't running ads for that product apparently. And you can kind of just see all of the metrics. Basically, this top section is totals. So if give me 1 second. For some reason, Loom doesn't let me click on the left side of my screen. But anyway, the total section expands down. So if you were running sponsored brands and display, that data would be down here. But this top section here kind of summarizes all of your ad data and metrics, where this splits it out to products, brands, and display. But products and the totals are the same in this example, just because this test account I'm not running much. All right. So similarly, you've got underneath, you've got your products that you can add, and by default there's like 10 spots here. If you want to add more, just come up and click Add New Product Selection. It'll just kick a new kind of empty template down at the bottom, and you can just add a new product. So it's pretty basic. That's covered in the guide as well. So that's pretty much it as far as getting it set up. The ongoing process again is the exact same. You're just going to walk down through the steps here. To add more days, we did import some more data other than the first. You would just click on Add More Days, and you want to add additional days, hit yes, and then you can just type in however many days, and if you've got the data in there, it should automatically just populate. All right, so there you go. Now you see the performance data is typically like a day behind the ads data. Usually the ads data is pretty good as far as attribution within like a day or two. Again, I would do, when you update it the next time, do a little bit of day overlap. So I would maybe grab from the second to the current day from grabbing the ads. And then you can do the similar thing with the SKU data or your orders data. The only thing is, the orders data, the day of, it rarely has any orders data. It'll have typically some sessions data and stuff like that, but just keep in mind for the performance orders data and sessions data, stuff like that from the SKU reports, it's going to be the current day, like today's the 5th. It likely won't have any data in there for that. So as far as all the metrics and stuff, advertised units is the PPC units that you're making sales on based on what you're targeting. So you're targeting this ASIN in those ads, where the other units, it's buying another product. So they likely clicked on this ad and they bought this black one, for example. As far as the profit, take that with a really good grain of salt. That's meant to be a kind of a trending relative metric day to day. Keep in mind it doesn't have refunds, returns, coupons, stuff like that. You'd want to use the books tool in the members area if you want a really good, accurate representation of your profit. What else? So if you were using the logistics tool, you'd see your inventory here. I don't have that populated. So if you click on these little plus buttons under the product level, you'll see some additional data here related to advertising, like your impressions, clicks, click-through rates, orders, and that's all PPC related, where up here it's going to be orders related. You've got some week-on-week trends. You do need to get enough for your 30-day trends up here. If you don't have enough data yet, it'll just show blank. And then down here is the keyword rank tracking. So the keyword rank tracking, check out the guide for that. It'll be under this section here. So it'll just walk you through how to set it up in Helium 10. And it's a very straightforward process. Once you understand what we did today, you're just gonna download the rank file from Helium 10 and then you import it just the same way. So, and then once you do that, it just populates up to 25 keywords here, and then your rank data will show the organic rank, each day. So you can kind of keep track of if you're trying to change things or run PPC, index better in your listing, stuff like that. You can check the changes. The last thing I'll cover here is the events. So you can keep track of notes. If you change like your title, your search terms, you can kind of customize these too if you don't want to make them the title and search terms. So basically all it is you've got a table here. You just pick your ASIN. So like say here, and the date I want to do, let's do 12/24. 23, and let's say we want to keep a note that ran a promo or whatever. You can keep any sort of notes. These notes here are for your own knowledge. You can just kind of keep track. They won't show up on the dashboard. This is what's going to show up on the dashboard. So if we just go back here, you'll see, let's see, I guess it was this product here. So ran a promo. So you can do something similar if you want to keep track of like title changes, search terms. It's just a different drop down here. But again, you can always change these and kind of customize your dashboard if you want. So that is pretty much it. Let me look around here and see if there's anything else I wanted to cover. So there's a few options up here. If you want to look at weekly metrics, you can toggle this and it's going to kind of collapse everything. For weekly, keep in mind the notes and stuff won't show up, so you've got to kind of toggle that back to the daily if you want to keep track of daily. This toggle here you don't need to worry about because we've got it in single brand mode, so that's really not relevant. You can kind of read about the options in the guide if you want to get more advanced. And then the only other thing, you got your price history here. This is from Keepa. All right, and then the last thing I wanted to mention, if I change this back to daily, you see you've got a start date and an end date here. These are relevant for the totals column. So this is the total of what it's showing now is from the 12/7 to 1/6, and you can see this is a formula, so it's going to go all the way out to as many days as you're tracking. You can double click on this and then pick a shorter date, and you'll see that the totals here are going to change. So that's all that these two cells essentially does. It allows you to pick a custom range and change the totals date. It's not really changing any of the daily data, it's just this one here. So you can always revert back if you want to the formula or whatever. So that is pretty much it, guys. Hopefully this helps. Again, definitely watch or read over the training guide. Use that as kind of your single source of information. We try to keep that up to date with any new UI changes, and hopefully this quick training video on how you set it up helps, and you can use the training guide back and forth to kind of get accustomed to the tool. So I will see you guys on the next